Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Joe. This is Breaking the Chains, and I wanted to talk today about some topics going on in the news. I want to start locally with the mayor race that's getting ready to. People are already voting. Um, I personally am going to be voting for Gus Parati, who is a young 23-year-old man who is a Democrat, and uh, I saw him on the debates, and he was a sharp guy. Uh, Most likely, the election's going to go to a runoff, and when that happens, I most likely will vote for the Democrat. Um, the people that are running that I think have a chance at all are Wayne Johnson on the Republican end, Brian Colon on the Democrat side, also Tim Keller, and then you have a distant fourth, Gus Parati. But you never know. He could spark the the Bernie revolution here in Albuquerque. That would be really cool. Make some headlines as the youngest mayor, or something like that. That would be really cool. Uh, what else do I want to talk about? Um, the consistent gaslighting that's going on in the news. Uh, I find it crazy how people defend Donald Trump's speech, man. Did you see the speech he gave to the United Nations? It was, in my opinion, crazy as shit. Like, there is no tactful way this guy goes about things. There's no subtlety about it. He is crazy, man. I I heard that Stephen Miller, his little sidekick there, uh, one of his advisors, I forget what Stephen Miller is, but wrote that speech um, for him. Some of the generals were really happy about it, that he was going to go ahead and just destroy North Korea. I mean, he definitely sounded crazy. I know a lot of the other speakers there, all the other nation leaders, did not like his speech, except for maybe Israel, maybe Turkey. I know that there's a few places that I don't understand. We are like dictators now, man. If you ever see the way the mentality of the right works, and even the left, like the extreme end of both sides seems to tend to like want to push their will upon people as forceful as possible. Um, I don't know that necessarily you have to do that, or if that's just like one extreme end or the other. I think that we've seen the extreme end of communism and socialism, and those lead to bad things, and the extreme end of capitalism, fascism, all that stuff. It, all the different societies, you can see how when they lean too far one way or the other, they do peak out and go ape shit, uh, and then other nations will basically collapse upon them. Uh, right now, America is the biggest power out there. What we got to remember, though, is we're not the biggest country. We're not the most populated country. Um, just not even really the most technological country at all. Like, we just have our the the guns. We have the big guns, and as technology is pushed to the limit, I mean, now we have lasers, EMPs. Uh, they're a lot of things that are banned in the world market. I believe people still do. I mean, chemical tax or weather manipulation. Um, all these things, they happen to a degree for sure. To say they don't, you're basically just blinding eye. You're covering your eyes. You're not showing your. you're being ignorant, choosing to be ignorant, the willful ignorance, because all kinds of weird shit happens. There's a lot of money that gets put into crazy ideas. I mean, they talk about back in the day when Stalin was in power, he was making monkey men. You know, he was trying to breed men and monkey together to to do that shit. You know, make a superhuman. Uh, you know, I was actually studying up a little bit on Nietzsche, and he believed in a superhuman. I thought that was pretty weird, but I mean, I could understand where he was coming from. The superhuman basically is against all the bad things that you consciously know are bad or something like that. I don't know. I'm just getting the hang of this guy. I'm still studying him up a little bit, but from what I see so far is that Nietzsche is the conservative philosopher's go-to. Um, in large part, which is really weird because he kind of renounces religion, and then he was really religious, renounced religion, uh, and then went ape shit. And this guy is like a well-known philosopher that people like and study. He has the whole "what doesn't kill you makes you stronger" uh, idea. Um, there's a bunch to learn on him. However, as I'm going through it, I see that these are a lot of the conservative ideas that they try to portray. You know, the get your bootstraps, work through shit, don't complain. Um, the morality of the herd and the morality of the superhuman or the uberhuman or whatever it is, that like the it's like the classes and the masses. You know, the information for the classes, and there's information for the masses. And the classes is like that uber human, like when you break the barrier of all the final barrier, possibly, maybe, um, because there's so many barriers that people line up for any average person to jump through. And when you don't make those barriers, you end up pooled in a pool, kind of like water, you know, and everyone just in one area. um, and all the problems come in with it. You know, the gets too much water, the barrier will break on its own and rush up to the next barrier. And so the people at the very end, or the power at the very end, um, it's holding on, and it keeps adding barriers so that we don't reach it, so that we won't grab the power. Uh, if you're like one of these superhuman classes, you can do that. You could topple these guys. But if not, you're in the herd. And like he basically said, if you're in the herd, you know, you justify your oppression by making these people evil. When it's like, how to explain it? There's a an eagle will swoop down and take a baby sheep and eat that fucker. Well, the sheep, if they were like humans, would look up at that eagle in resentment and say, "Oh, damn you, eagle, you're evil." And they justify the eagle just being an eagle, you know, and it's got to eat and it has the ability to fly, so it does what it does just naturally. Um, the herd develops the mentality of the blame the eagle for being an eagle. It's just evil innately, and that's like the herd mentality, right? From what I understand so far. So, uh, fight. I think that a lot of it is like motivational speaking. You know, when you listen to Nietzsche, but I think my first assessment, if it's anything like a lot of Republicans' ideals or conservative ideals, I would say that it ignores a lot of nuances. Maybe they're just not nuances to a Republican, like the details. They don't work those out at all. Other things that I was checking out were, you know, the divide between Democrats these days. I believe that a lot of media has been infiltrated, or possibly has always has been influenced by outside of Democrats' interests. So, like, what I mean by this is, like, I guess I don't know if I said this before on camera, but I believe like the Democrats and the Republicans are two cars, you know, and you have to basically find a driver for them. And right now you have like these neocons and neo liberals who are in power in these cars, and they're driving the cars, and the nation's trying to open the door and get in, and they keep locking the door, and they're like, no, 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 this is my car, and that's I'm driving it, and I'm driving it to the policy I want. And basically there's people outside saying, let's build our own car and get there. And there's people who are saying, let's just take that car. That car runs perfectly fine. All we got to do is take the keys from that drunk driver. And that's happening on both sides of the party. Um, but who gets the keys? Who gets the keys to those cars um, usually runs the show. The, the whole building a new car, to me, uh, it's a long process, and it would need the drivers of the other cars, in my opinion, to help get that third car on the road. Almost like there's two lanes, two cars, and they have to decide, once those two cars are driving down the road, do they want to build a third lane for another car? It's like a two process, three. It's like a bunch of processes, a bunch of steps that are involved. And I truly believe that we can take over like the Democrat Party or the Republican Party and make it up to the people. But like nowadays, it's so compounded with propaganda on both sides, and other sides, other influences like the Koch brothers and uh, the Mercers or George Soros. And I say George Soros with skepticism, honestly, because the only time I hear about George Soros is in Republican circles, or those third uh, party type circles that are just kind of against the American government, period. Which, I'm not really against the American government, I'm against the way it wields its power. I want it to wield the power in a more positive light to harm less people, because, yeah, less people being harmed is better, in my opinion. However, I'm not under a delusion that like we can run a utopian society where no one's hurt, but I think we can lower, you know, the amount of pain. We could lower the amount of, and all this is a philosophy that basically people believe you have to struggle in order to succeed. Other people believe that so much that when they see someone with no legs, they might just say like, ah, he's either going to survive or not. And if he survives, he'll be stronger for it. And while that may be true, I don't necessarily agree that it's right. Um, the methods and training a human being are various, just to say the least. You can traumatize someone into doing what you want. You can inspire someone into doing what you want or what they want. You can trick and manipulate. There's all these different ways that people, not just our government, but people innately do. You could watch children do it. Children will know how to cry at the parent that is the sucker for the cry. They know to target them, and they know this is children. So a well-studied person can manipulate people easily. Mass amounts of people. That's what the mass media and propaganda is about. And I get so sick of the propaganda. It makes people disinterested. It's doing a good job too, because I know a lot of people that were sparked by the revolution, by the Bernie revolution. They're not really into it anymore. They got disenchanted, and I don't blame them. I mean, I see the struggle it is. It's like banging. It's so frustrating, you know. It's so frustrating. You, what do you do? I just want to go in there and scream at the top of my lungs sometimes, or bang my head on the desk, because it's just so damn frustrating when you see people never giving you the right answers, or not the right answers, but no answer, talking in circles, not answering questions. Um, Donald Trump says the exact opposite thing. So one second you're saying they say this, and the next second they say that, and then depending on the media you look at, they'll back either one of those statements. Oh well, he said he's going to build a wall. Well, he said he was going to build a fence, or you know, and some of I mean, see, it's like the whole situation with the wiretapping. You know, Donald Trump said the stupidest shit ever. He said Obama taps my phones, right, or something to that effect. And now it turns out that the FBI tapped Paul Manafort, which was his campaign, his first campaign advisor or whatever, campaign manager. And what happened? Everyone's like, oh, see, Donald Trump was right. Obama tapped his phones. And now, is that directly right? I don't know, like, all the details of it, to tell you the truth. However, like, at the time, the people against his statement were brushing it off like it was so ridiculous, like it was impossible. And the people on the other hand were saying, how outrageous is this, right? Well, the people who were saying how outrageous are now justified, and the people who were saying it was impossible and like brushing them off like it was ridiculous have lost total credibility, even if they truly believe that. They didn't truly believe that, because it's not utterly ridiculous. We have a sick dragnet system where everyone is recorded, monitored for quality assurance. I'm sorry to say, but that's just the world we live in. And for the media just to like play it off like it was ridiculous was a bad move. They keep making a lot of bad moves. Like, I don't know if it's for good or bad, because like I said, I don't know about the vacuum that we have in identity politics, the way identity works. I don't know that the vacuum is gonna, I mean, I don't know what's gonna suck it up. Like, when everyone loses their belief, their faith uh in the media, they look other places for their information, and they're gonna get a bunch of fucked up shit. I see it with family members I love, and I don't like it. It hurts me because I feel like some people are just suckers for this information, and then I get these constant bombardment of messages saying, like, you know, you're brainwashed, you're wrong. And I'm like, I'm just open. I'm open. Let me hear your idea. If I like the idea, I'm gonna go with it, and I'll tell you about it. If I don't like it, I'm gonna tell you what I don't like about it. And you can say whatever you want, but you know, people deny a lot of things, and they pick and choose their information they want. Um, anyway, that's that. Uh, what else I want to talk about? I'm gonna leave it at that for now. My name is Joseph Romero. This is Breaking the Chains. Hope you have a good one.